Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hello and welcome to Share Talk. Today I'm joined by David Minchin, who's CEO at Helium One. First question, David, what is helium and what is it used for?
So helium's got a wide range of end usage in high technology and high value applications. We're finding increasing use in data centers where helium is used to replace the air gap in hard drives. It's used in fiber optic cable manufacturing, where the fiber optic glass is produced in a helium atmosphere so as to reduce the imperfections and data losses when you're transferring. And it's then used in semiconductor chips and things like flat screen displays, touch screen displays. So it's one of those commodities which is going to form the backbone of the information technology age that we're moving into, with cloud-based storage and distribution of high-speed internet across the globe. Currently, its major uses are in medical, welding. It's about 20% of consumption is in MRI scanners.
Inadvertently, it's become a 21st century commodity. I mean, right in there.
It's much more than balloons and squeaky voices. This is an innovation-critical commodity. It's finding increasing and expanding high-tech and high-use applications.
But it's like if we'd had this conversation even 20 years ago, it wouldn't have had that application and that interest that it has now. I mean, it literally is a commodity of the moment.
Well, exactly. I mean, 20 years ago, if you'd have gone for an MRI scan, you'd have been one of very few people with MRI scanners. There wasn't any data kept in the cloud. There was no such thing as a cloud. And the other thing to say about 20 years ago is that at that stage, the majority of the world's helium was provided by the US Federal Reserve, which was a strategic stockpile built up during the Cold War, which they started closing down in the late 90s and sort of distributing out into the market. That meant for 20 years ago, we'd have been in a situation of oversupply with artificially low prices, with the US Federal Reserve providing 20 to 25% of global helium. That supply has closed its door as of last year. So as of 2019, there's no more helium coming out of the US Federal Reserve. And that's taken a huge supply shock, which has resulted in dramatically increased helium prices.
Right, just a question which I think I was almost going to ask at the beginning, in fact, but the situation with Helium One in terms of funding, which tends to be, the F word tends to be one of the most important with any company on the stock market, and if people think that that's shadowing the situation, then they are not so keen to press the buy button. But you can't really emphasize enough of what the funding situation is and how you are funded at this stage.
We went out to IPO in December of last year, and we were massively oversubscribed. As a result, we decided to take £6 million, which was sufficient capital to complete the infill 2D seismic survey, as well as 3 exploration well holes. So we are fully financed for this first phase of exploration, fully financed up to the point of discovery.
And then in terms of the asset, how important is it on a sort of global level? And what are the timeframes in terms of exploring and developing that?
And this is a potentially globally strategic resource. It's the largest resource of its kind. It's 50 to 200 times higher grade than existing production as a byproduct of hydrocarbon. It's 138 billion cubic feet, which is enough to provide the entirety of the world's demand for over 20 years, or more realistically, provide a meaningful contribution of a billion cubic feet for over 100 years. So this is a game changer in the way that helium is provided, and it's a strategic asset because this can be the asset that sets the price. This is the price maker in the commodity because it's the only asset where you can vary your production rate, because you're not tied into hydrocarbon economics. You're basing yourself entirely on helium economics.
That really means you're effectively the Saudi Arabia of helium. Is that a fair thing?
Absolutely. You can look at other commodities where there's one major producer who sets the price, and that is us.
Right, and just finally, how do you see Helium One panning out for the rest of the year? What are the major developments that we can look out for?
I always say, Zach, if you look after the project, then the share price looks after itself. And we have got a lot of dramatic developments over the next 6 months. We have commenced our seismic exploration program. We've got a team of 30 people out in the field at the moment, surveying and clearing lines. We will be commencing data acquisition shortly. We're most of the way through contract negotiations for a drill rig. We're looking to spud first hole in May this year, and from there it's a constant path of discovery. Each hole takes about a month to complete. We'll be able to report helium shows in mud gas, and then we'll be doing some testing on completion of each well to be able to identify gas column and gas composition. There's a lot of news coming out as we go through the discovery drilling phase, and that's going to be transformational for the company. This is a transformational year for Helium One.
Okay, well, David Minchin, CEO at Helium One, thank you very much indeed, and we look forward to more updates from Tanzania.
It's been a pleasure, Zach.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.